Okay guys, welcome to episode 3 of the Django and React full stack series, and in this episode we are going to work on JWT authentication instead. So without further ado, let's get started. If you've not subscribed yet, please do well to subscribe and like this video. So back to our code now. Here's how it's going to work. So we are going to implement JWT authentication in Get. So first thing first, we are going to first of all create a protected route. So what is a protected route? A protected route is simply a component that helps to protect a page that requires user authentication. For example, our create post page, this page we have here, right now I'm going to use the already built app to show you guys an example. So we have this create post page. This page is a protected route. Before you can access this page, you must be logged in, right? So if I log out right now, and I try right now, if I click on the page, if I click on create post, I can't access the page again. I can only access the create post page only when I am logged in. So we are going to create a protected route that's going to help us protect this page, this create post page, and to only give you access only when you are logged in. So we are going to work on that. You understand? So, but before we work on the protected routes, I would like us to build up this create post page. You understand? Let's build it up quickly. It's not going to take us much time. So once we are done building the create post page, we are going to create our login page and then our protected route. And after that, we're going to implement JWT authentication, quick and simple. So right now, let's get started. Okay, so right now we're going to create a new page. We're going to call the page create post page. Head over to our pages folder, create a new file called create posts. Let's say create post page.jxx. It's enter. So I'm going to say RAFCE. Come on, suggest this for me. So I'm pasting the code here. The code is quite, it's just a simple HTML and some Tailwind CSS, right? That formed our React component. So I will show you what the page looks like. So I'm going to come over here. I will come back here. This is the already built app. So right now I'm going to log in here. I'm going to log in a user right now. Let's see what the page looks like. So sign in. Come on. So yeah, here's how the page looks like. It has the title, the contents, the category, the image, and this other feed called save as draft. So these are the page looks like, and that's what we have here, right? So but right now we have to import some of these things from ChatCN. Remember, we already had the label installed, we already had input installed, right? We've not yet installed our text area. How do I know this? You go down to your code now. There's a folder called components in your source folder. This folder holds all the components we've gotten from ChatCN. So right now we have the button, the inputs, the label, the pagination, the switch, but we've not yet got text area. We've not got the select yet. So we are going to get all this right now. So right now, as for the input and the label, we already have them. I'll simply just paste their import statement above. So right now, let's work on importing the text area. So back to ChatCN quickly. Let's say ChatCN UI. It's enter. So click on the first link. So right now we're on ChatCN now. Click on components. So we're going to look for text area on the left side. Here's our component, right? So let's look for text area. Here it is. So we have to import this. Copy npm. Where are you? Yeah, here's the page. So let's open a new command prompt. Now paste it there. Hit enter to install it. So as for the let's copy the imp. Here is the copy this imports, copy it back to your code, and on top on that label paste the line there. So while it is installing now, while it is installing, we also need our select components. So over to ChatCN, yes, select, yes, click on select, and then we're going to copy this import, copy it, npm, back here. The text area is done installing, so I'm going to simply paste the command, the import for the select components. So while it is installing, back to our code now. Here's the import statement. We're going to copy everything. Paste that just under the text area. So yeah, so our select so right now let's wait for the select component to finish installing. And while it is still installing, we're going to create a new route for this create post page. Go down to your go over to your app.gxs file. So let's add a new route. So I'm going to just say route. The path should be equal to create, and the element should be equal to, the element is called, I think I called it create post page. So we close this. So right now we're still having the select component is still getting installed. Okay, so right now we have the select component installed. So right now let's import create posts back to our, so I'm going to remove some of this stuff. We don't need them. Let's remove them. Yeah, let's clear up the space. As for our profile page, we don't need it yet. Now let's import. I'm going to say import create post page. Yeah, that was it. So we've got it imported now. So the path is called create. So over to our navbar. Our navbar is located. Here's a navbar. So we're going to add a link to that page. So as for this profile, we remove it. We are not working with it yet. It's making the page look messy. So here's the create post page here. Here is the link. This is the link, right? So I'll just copy this nav link, copy this one from the register link, copy it, and then I'll paste it inside here. Yeah, and then I'll rename this. We're going to call this, hope I didn't make a mistake. Let's Ctrl Z. So we'll paste it here. Call it nav link. It's looking like we made a mistake. So I'll rename this to create. That's the path. It's called create, and we are going to call this one create posts. Right? Okay, right now our nav link is not covered. Let's simply add the closing. Yeah, so remove this. So let's hold on, let's save our page. This is meant to be okay. Sorry. Yeah, it's perfect now. So right now we have a new link for our create post page. This is a nav link. It's pointing down to the part called create. Right, you have is active class name, and the link is create post. So we've got this already. Back to our browser. So we've got register working. We've got create posts. Oh, create post try an error. Let's inspect. Check the console. It says select group is not defined. Select group is not defined. Okay, back to our page. Okay, I think we'll just copy this select group. We'll also add it here. And also let's copy the select label. I'll also add it here. So I think we have I think we have all of them now. It says checkbox is not defined. Okay, we also need to install the checkbox. Well, I don't think we are using that checkbox. We are not using it, so I'll remove it. I'm just going to remove this checkbox. Okay, let's remove the checkbox. We're not using it. Yeah, to save our time. The feature, we are not using the checkbox. Let's just simply remove it. Yeah, that's what we have now. So we have the title, the content, the category, the feature, the image, and yeah, here's our create post looking good, right? So right now, let's look on the login page quickly. Okay, so right now let's add up our login page. So back to our code now. So we have the create post page done. So now let's create a new page called login page.jxx. It's enter. So I'll paste in the code here. I've got the code already. It's simple. So right now we have the label from shard.cn. We also have the input from shard.cn. We have the link from React Router DOM. So this is very, very simple. Let me show you what it looks like. Here's what the login page looks like. I'll log out JNet, and you can see this is what the login page looks like. Just two fields and the button. So we've got the same thing here. So let's create a route for this page. Back to our app components, we're going to add a new route. I'll just copy this one for sign up, Ctrl C. Let's paste it under the create. So we're going to call this sign in. The element is login page, right? So yeah, here is it. We've got that already. That's perfect. So back to our nav bar. So what do we do? I'll simply copy the one for sign up, copy it. Then I'll replace it up here. Yeah, we're going to call this one login. Login, right? It should be called sign in. Sign in. Yep, so let's see what it looks like over to our browser. So yeah, here it is. So right now we're on the create post page. We are on the create post page. Right now we're on the register page. And now we're on the login page, right? So we have the three pages done. So what's the next thing now? So right now I want to create a protected routes component, whereby if you're not logged in, you cannot access the create post page. If you're not logged in, you won't be given access to this page. You can only create a post only when you are logged in. So back to our code now. We create a new component. I'll go back, head over to your UI components. Let me just close down all this order. So open the source folder, over to the UI components. So we are going to create a new file. I'm going to call this file protected routes.jxx. It's enter. Then we're going to say FCE. Come on. Yeah, so let's remove this React on top. So right now, I'm going to declare a state, going to say const is authorized. So this route is going to give us access to the create post page. If you're not logged in, you won't be given access. I'm going to say is authorized. Is authorized should be equal is authorized, right? I'm going to say set is authorized. Right, is authorized and set is authorized. And I'm going to say use states should be equal to, by default, the value is going to be null. So let's import use states. I'm going to say import use states from React. Yeah, so we've got this is authorized right now. So what is next step? So right now we're going to simply, I'm going to simply create a function. Make this a bit bigger. So right now I've created a function. I'm going to call this function authorize. I'm going to say function. I'm going to say authorize. So this function is meant to be an asynchronous function. So I'm going to add this async keyword. First thing first, I want to check if our local storage has it has a key called access, because whenever you log in, we are going to simply store an access key to the local storage. So we are checking to see if the local storage has the key. So I'm going to say const token should be equal to local storage dot get item. It's called get item access. So if the token does not exist, I'm going to say if not token, if it does not exist, what am I typing? If not token, I'm going to say set is authorized to false. I will simply return, right? If not token, but if there is a token, what do you want to do? You want to simply decode this token. So here's how so right now, here's how we decode this is how we are going to decode the token. If a token exists, we are going to simply decode this. We are going to simply decode the token. So I'm going to say const decoded token, decode token should be equal to JWT decode. And then I'll pass in the token. So I think we need to install a package called JWT decode. I'm going to say npm I JWT decode. Hit enter. So right now we have the package installed. So we have to import JWT decode we have to import this JWT decode. So let's just remove some text. Let's see if there is it. So you can see you have the import statement on top. So right now we're going to say const expiry date. Right now I want to get the expiry date. It's going to say const expiry underscore date should be equal to decode. Let me just call this decoded token. Decoded token should be equal to decoded token dot exp. Yeah, dot exp, and then we're going to get the current time we are. I'm going to say current time should be equal to. I'm going to say date dot now divided by 1000. So this will give us our time in seconds. So right now we are going to simply do this. I'm going to say if current time is greater than expiry date. So if current time is greater than expiry date, that means the token has expired. Right? Then we are going to simply do this. We are going to call a function that will help us generate a new access token. We're going to say await. We're going to call this function. The function is called refresh token. We've not yet created the function yet. The function has not yet been created. The function is going to be called refresh token. We've not yet created it. So I'll simply comment this line out. So if the current time is greater than the expiry date, it means the token has expired. So simply generate a fresh token for us. This refresh token will simply generate a new token for us. You understand? So that's if our token has expired. But if our token has not yet expired, what are we going to do? We're going to say else, and then we're going to simply set is authorized to true. Right? We'll set is authorized to true. Right? So yeah, so that's it now. So we've done this now. So what's the next step? So we'll come out of so outside of the authorized function, remember by default, is authorized is set to null. So right now, is authorized is meant to be null at first, and once it is null, it is meant to then switch over to either false or true. Is authorized is not meant to stay at null for a long time. So while is authorized is null, we want to simply display a spinner. You understand? So back here, I'm going to say if is authorized, come on, so just is if it is equal to null, I'm going to simply do what? Return the spinning elements, return our spinner. Come on, so this for me. Come on. Spinner. Yes, that's it. So that's our spinner now. So if it's authorized is null, we're going to return our spinner. But why, what if it is, if it's authorized is false, we want to simply redirect the user to the login page. If is authorized is true, we want to simply grant the user access to the protected routes. So if is authorized is true, the user will be able to access the create post page. So right now we're gonna accept a prop. I'm gonna accept the children prop up here. I'm gonna call it children. So right now let's accept the children prop here. So say children. Yeah. So now what do we do now? So over here, yeah. So I'm gonna do some stuff here. I'm gonna use React fragments. Yeah. So once we're here now, we're gonna say if it's authorized, if it is true, we will simply return the children prop. The children prop is the page that is being protected, and that page is the create post page. So if it's authorized is true, we want to display the children prop, and that is the create post page. But if it's authorized is false, I will simply navigate the user. I will simply redirect the user back to the login page. So navigate, come on, yeah, it's coming from React Router. I'm going to navigate the user back to the login page. So that's it. So that's it now. So now, yeah, so we are not done. So we're not done yet. So we have to create this refresh token function. So just above here, I'm going to just call it up here. I'm going to say function refresh token. So first and first, we're going to get, remember, whenever you're trying to log in, so for you to understand this token and token stuff, make sure you've watched the backend, the episode where I covered JWT authentication on the backend. So I thought I showed you how you can create your token on the backend. So you want to check that out, just go check out the episode where I taught JWT authentication on the backend. So I'll drop the video in this video's description. So right now, yeah. So right now I'm going to say const. I'm going to say refresh. Right now we want to get our refresh token. Or let's just say let's call it refresh. We're going to say local storage. So our refresh token is our so whenever a user logs in, we store the access token and the refresh token on the browser's local storage, right? So right now we're going to say local storage dot get item. I'm going to call it refresh. So we save it with the key code refresh. For the refresh token, it is saved with this key code refresh. For the access token, it is saved with this key code access. So right now, this is how it works here. So I would love to give you guys a brief overview on the backend on how this works on the backend with Django. So I just feel like showing you guys this. This will make the video a bit long, but I think it's worth it. So right now, back to our code now. So I recommend you go watch the video where I taught this thing, where I showed you how to perform JWT authentication on the backend. Please go watch the video. I'll link the video in this video description. Do well to watch it if you don't understand how it works. So back to our project URL.spy file. Yeah, so we have these two endpoints. One is called token. The token is for this token endpoint enables us to generate our access and refresh token. While this token refresh enables us to create a new access token with the already existing refresh token. So I'll show you what this means. I'll explain what it means now. So right now, for us to log in, we have to send a post request to this endpoint called token, and the post request is going to contain the username and the password, right? So yeah, so right now, open Postman here. Let me show what I'm talking about. So click on the button called new HTTP request. Click on it. So now we have our Postman open now. So I want to show you right now so I'm going to say 127, want to send a post request. Want to simply right now I want to show you how we can generate a token. So here's the endpoint. This token, yeah, that's the endpoint, right? So click on body, click on form data. So I'm going to impute. Let me just impute. It's going to say username should be JNet, we already have JNet existing on the backend, JNet, and our password should be Baka100. I'm a Barcelona fan, so click on this send button, click on it. Yeah, so right now we just generated a new refresh token and access token. You can see it here. So what did we do? So right now, for you to get these tokens, you have to simply pass in your username and your password. So these are it is done on the back end. So we pass in the username and the password, and then we send a post request to this endpoint called token. Right? This is our backend URL. So what we did, that's what we did, right? So so right now on the front end, we are going to store this refresh token. This is a refresh token. We are going to store this token on in our local storage, and we are also going to store the access token in our local storage, and we are going to use this key, the refresh and the access key, to store them. So right now, if the access token has a shorter lifespan than the refresh token. Let me see, the refresh token has a longer lifespan than the access token. So once your access token expires, what we are going to do here, what this function does here, this function I'm about to create, what it does now is this. It is going to simply, where are we? It is going to simply now use the refresh token it has, this refresh token it already has, to generate a new access token. Right? That's what it does. So how do we go about that? Remember, the endpoint is called token underscore refresh. How the endpoint is called on our end. So you can record anything on your own end. So we are going to then come over, I'll copy the refresh token, just copy it. Control C, copy it. And then we're going to pass let's just rename this to refresh. I'm going to clear out this password. And I'll pass the refresh token here. Yeah, so we've got our refresh token now. So right now we need a new access token. Let's assume our access token has expired. So click on the send button. So right now you can see we've got a new access token. Right now we only got an access token. So that's how it works, right? So yeah, so what you are doing here now. So right now, if the token right now, this condition means that the token has expired. Once it has expired, we are going to call the refresh token, and the refresh token is going to use the existing refresh token on the local storage to generate a new access token. And once that is done, the user can proceed. The user gets logged in again, right? That's it. So right now we're going to send a post request to the backend. We're going to send a post request to the backend to generate a new access token for us. Remember, we've gotten our refresh token. Remember, this is our refresh token over here. So we're going to say we're going to use the try block, the try catch now. So let me just add a catch under the try catch here. I think this is looking too small. Let me make it. Oh, sorry. Let me make it bigger. So yeah, now I'm going to say const response should be equal to, I'm going to say await. Remember, is this going to be an asynchronous function? We already have our async here, so you have to use await to make the post request. I'm going to say API dot posts. We already have API imported on top. So say API dot post, and the endpoint is called token underscore refresh. Right, so put in the forward slash. Remember, I'm making a post request. Then we're going to simply pass in our objects. You're making a post request. You're meant to send something to the backend, and we're going to send an object. So we're going to say the key is always called refresh, and then we are trying to send this value called refresh also. Since they are of the same name, we can simply just use a single refresh, period. So that's it. Now once we've done this, now we're going to then say if response dot status, if the response status is equal to, if it is equal to 200, then that means we have successfully generated a new access token. We're going to say local storage. Then we're going to simply store that access token to our local storage. We're going to say local storage or set item. Then we're going to say access. Then we'll simply just say response dot data. Response of data represents the entire object. You understand? And then we're going to then right now we want to get access. That right now we want to get the access property in the object. So I'm going to say dot access. Right now this is how we get our token, and then we're going to set is authorized to true. To true. So if the response is successful, we are going to perform this action, or if it is not, we're going to say else. Set is authorized to false, right? Set is authorized to false. So for the try catch, we are going to do the same thing again. We still set is authorized to false over here. And we're going to also, let's just simply console out the error message, console.log error. And yes, so right now we have our refresh token done. Remember, we are calling the refresh token over. The refresh token is being called at this point in the authorize function. And so when do we call the authorize function? So we are going to call the authorize function whenever this protected route renders. So we are going to use effects for that. And so use effects hook. Right. We import this from React, see it here. And then let's put in a function inside. So right now, I'm going to just check out for whenever there's an error, whenever there is an issue with the function. That's our major concern now. If there's an issue with the function, I'm going to say dot catch. If there's an issue, just simply set is authorized to false. So that's it. That's it. Right? Okay, so yeah, so right now I think we are done with the protected routes. We are done with it now. For us to properly test this, we have to simply head over to, let's go over to our app components. We have to protect this create page, this create post page component. We have to protect it right now. So we're going to call our protected routes here. So right now we're going to wrap our create post page components inside of the protected route. So this is how we do it. Protected routes. So suggest it for me. Yeah, that's it. Close it, and I'll simply just get the create post page and then paste it in between the protected routes. And yeah, so right now our create post page is now protected. If you're not logged in, you can't access it. Right, so to the browser. So click on the folio. This is our home page. So click on register, login. This right now these pages are not protected. So right now click on create posts. You see you can't access it. Only when you're logged in, that's when you can access the create post page. You can see if I go back to the home page, if I try going back to the create post page, I can't. I can only access the page only when I am logged in. Okay guys, right now it's time for us to log in the users, right? So back to our code. So the endpoints for logging in users, yeah, where is it again? So back to our backend code. The endpoint is called, here is it, come on, show yourself. Over to your Django projects, url.py file. The endpoint is called token. It's called token. This is the endpoint. This is the endpoint we are going to use to log in our users. This is the endpoint we are going to use to generate the access and the refresh tokens. So let's get to it. So back to our code, over to our API blog.js file. Here are you. API blog.js, API blog.js. Okay, it's open. It is inside of the services folder. Yeah, so right now I'm going to create a new function. As usual, I'm going to say export async function, and then sign in. Yeah. Then I'm going to use our try and the catch try, and our catch will be here, catching errors for us. So back to our try block now. Yes, we're going to say const response should be equal to await API dot post. So we're expecting a data, and that data is the password and the username. It's gonna be an object, right? So over here, we're gonna simply, our endpoint is called token, put in the forward slash and then pass in data, that's the object. They're gonna simply return response dot data. For the catch now, so you're going to check if the error message, going to say if error the status, if it is equal to 401. If it's equal to 401, that is unauthorized. If it is equal to 401, that means that user is not authorized. And that simply means the user provided a wrong credentials. I'm going to say throw new error, and that should be invalid credentials. Else, if the error status is saying, if the error status return a different code, then we're going to simply just throw the error, throw new error, and we'll pass in error. So that's it. So that's it now. So right now, let's go. We have to. Okay, I didn't spell function properly. So right now, let's go and do some front-end validation on the login page. Understand? So if let's do some simple validation. So let's simply just say const. Let's get our register, the undo submit. I'm going to say register. We are using React hook form. I'm going to say register. I'm going to say undo submit. And then let's say form states. From form state to get our errors. I'm going to say use form from React hook form. Just simply import use form. From React hook form. Yeah, so back to as for the username field now, we're going to just simply capture the field. We're going to say register. The field is called username, and then we're going to then pass in our validation. So required. Let me just say required is true. Just say username is required. User name is required. So just copy this for the password. So we are doing a simple validation here because the main validation has been done during the creation of users. So yeah, this is just a light validation. So we're going to do the password this time. Copy this. Let's see. Okay, let's say password is required. Yeah, so as for the error message, so over here, then we're going to say const errors should be coming from form states. As for the error message now, so simple, just here, I'm going to just check errors, then put in the question mark dot username, then question mark dot message, and we'll do and, then we're going to have the small tag, I'm going to say small, then we're going to have the error message itself, I'm going to say error dot username dot message. So what's going on here? I said before, they might not, this question mark is just for, like, for example, if there is no error, you understand, there might not be an error. That what the question mark is there for, because there might not be an error, you get. So if you are sure there's an error, then we don't need to use the question mark. But for it to be on the safe side, we have to just add the question mark in case there are no errors, right? So if there are no errors and you do this, it's going to throw an error. So to avoid the error, we have to then prevent that with a question mark. This question mark is called optional chaining in JavaScript. So now we've got this now. So I'm going to give this a class name, and I'll say I want the text color to be red. Remember, it is an error we are dealing with here. Text to be red 700. Let me just save this. So I'll copy this for the user for the password. And I'll change this to password. Yes, so we've got that already. That's perfect. So our code now. Okay, we're not done yet. Let's look on the undo submits. So now, right now, I've add my on submits. On submits. Yes. So here, I'm going to say undo submits. Yeah, undo submits from here. We got it from here. Undo. Okay, submit. I spelled. This is called submit. So we're going to then create our own. I'm going to say const. Let's create our own on submit. I'm going to say const on submit. Let's use the normal function. I'm going to say function. Say on submits. And then let's just console the data. Remember, the data is the value from the form. Console.log data. Then we'll pass this on submit into under submit, right? So back to our form now. So let's simply right click, inspect, console, clear, and then try submitting. Click. You can see it says username is required. If I enter the password, it says password is required, right? So that's good. So I'm going to input some random values there and then click on sign in. Perfect. We got our objects. We got the objects. That's perfect. So this is done now. What's the next step? It's time for us to log in. So we're going to use React query again. We're going to use the use mutation. So I'll say const mutation should be equal to, I'm going to say use mutation. And use mutation is meant to come from React query. And then the mutation function, I'm going to say mutation function should be, that's going to be our signing function. It's called signing. Here is it. And then we're passing the data we are expecting. Also pass it here. Yeah, so if we log in successfully, you're going to say on success. If there was a success, so just simply want to just return, want to just simply display a toast message. I'm going to say toast the success. So you're going to get toast from React Toastify. Toast is coming from React Toastify. Then we'll say toast the success. And say you have successfully signed up. Right, so we're going to say on error. Right, so after, yeah, I think it's on error is next. On error, we're going to simply return, say toast.error. Yeah, we're going to simply display the error message. We'll say error.message. and we are going to simply call this mutation function inside of this onSubmit. It's going to say mutation dot mutate, and then we're passing this data. Remember, this data is this data represents the username and password we get it from our form, and it is an object to pass it over here. Yeah, and that's what we need to do. We are not done yet, but let's just see if it is working. So let's try logging in again. Remember, we have JNet in our database. JNet. We also have a password. Let's input a password. So click on sign in. So it's taking some time, right? It's taking some time. So we have to add an indicator, a loading indicator that something is going on. You can see it showed up. You are successfully signed up, right? So you can see it took some time. So we are going to add a spinner on this button to show us that something is going on, right? So I'm going to input a wrong password for JNet. So click on right now. Let's try again. Click on sign in. Let's see what the error message is going to be. It's taking me some time. You can see it says invalid credentials. You can see it took quite some time. So you have to add that loading indicator on this button. So you can see now the error status is 401. You can see on our console, the error status is 401 and it's saying unauthorized. That's because we imputed an invalid credentials. So that's fine now. So right now, let's add that loading icon, the loading spinner on the button. So we're going to say if, remember this mutation is an object and it's having some extra properties like is pending, is error, mutates, and some other stuff. So if is pending is true, if is pending is true. So what should we do? So far these are signing now. Yeah, so far here, I'll say if mutation dot is pending, if it is true, we're going to simply, I'll just return a React fragments. And then let me just say small spinner, right? And then I want to also add, I'm going to add a small, let me just add a small text, small. Let me just create a class name, should be equal to, let's just say text. And then we'll just say text size should be, let's say 16 pixels. And I'll just say signing up. I put 3 dots there. And then if is pending is true, right? So if it is false, we just return the same small tag, but this time it's going to be saying, just be saying sign in. Let's see, it's going to just simply just say sign in, save it, and that's it to the browser. We have sign in there. So click on the button again. You can see now, we have this indicator that something is going on. Why? So something is going on. And one more thing, I want to also disable this button whenever something is whenever you are trying to log in. I want to prevent users from being able to click on this button. So let's disable the button. I'll come over here and just simply say, there's the button. I'll just say disabled. Disabled should be equal to, I'm going to say mutation dot is pending. The same thing for our input fields. Pass it here and over to the pass it here too. So once something is going on, want to make sure that these fields are disabled. You can't try any other thing. So if I click on it now, you can't do anything here. You can't. This button, you can't even click on it. You can see they are all disabled until the action is done running. Right. So that's that. You're not done yet. So you have to also, whenever you're trying to log in, if the login is successful, you want to also store the access token and the refresh token on the local storage. So we have not done that yet. So back to our code now over here. yeah, in this on success. So we're going to come over here. We're going to be expecting the response. This response we are getting here is the response that is returned. Is the response that is returned. Yeah, the response data that was returned there. Remember, response of data is an object. So to get the actual field, we have to then say response of data dot access. So right now we return an object, right? So this error you see on the front end, where are we? This error is coming from this same point here. Understand? So that's how it's being done. So over here, we're going to simply just say local storage dot set item. I'll say access, the access token should be equal to response dot access. So right now it might be asking why not response or data dot access. That's not how it's meant to be, right? So if we go down to our API blog, we already returned we already returned response or data, and this is the object we returned, and that's what we are getting access to over here. So we already have the object here. So we already have the object. Then we are going to simply access the field in the object by saying response.access. So we're going to do the same thing for the refresh. For our refresh token, I will simply replace this with refresh, right? And this should be response.refresh. So let's test this out and see how it works. So back to our browser, open down the inspect. So let's open our storage, local storage. So like I can see our local storage now, we only have the dark mode. So now let's try and set this for ourselves. And let's hope it works. So I'm gonna impute, let's say JNet. I'll impute a wrong password again. Click on signing in, click on it. Invalid credentials. So right now I'm going to impute the correct password. I'm going to say Baka 100 and then click on sign in. Let's see. Right now you can see now we have two new objects. We have two new keys in our local storage. We have the access key and then what have I done? Let me just close this now. We have the access key and we also have the refresh key. Perfect. So we've done this now. So what's the next step? The next thing for us to do now is this. Now remember, what we're trying to do is this. Now we're trying to get access to the create post page. Right. So right now we can access the page because we've been able to store the refresh and access token on the local storage. So right now I'm going to delete it now. I'll delete it, delete access, delete refresh. So right now we don't have access to it again. So right now you can see what I'm saying is this now. So remember, once we logged in, remember we are trying to access the create post page, but because we are not logged in, we directed back to the login page. So the aim now is this now. So whenever we log in, we want to get redirected back to that create post page. So these are it is now. So why trying to access a protected route? Because you are not logged in, you have to be redirected to the login page. So once you get logged in, the aim is to redirect the user back to that protected page he wanted to access. He wanted to gain access to. So that's our next aim. That's our next goal. So let's work on that next. So right now, let's implement it. Back to our code, head over to the protected routes components. So just up here under the is authorized states, we're going to say const location should be equal to use location. Yeah, from React Router done. So we've got use location now. What this use location helps us do is it helps us to get the current path we are on. That's what it helps us to do, right? So down to the navigate over here, where over you can see we have to navigate over to the sign in page if the user is not logged in. So before we got redirected, we were going somewhere. We are trying to access the protected page, but we got redirected to the login page. So now we are going to right now want to simply get a hold of the URL of that protected page we wanted to gain access to. We want to get a hold of the URL. Want to get the part of that page we're trying to get access to before we got redirected. So we're going to say state is equal to, we're going to say from should be equal to location, right? And we're going to just simply come over here and say replace. That's a convention. You have to add this replace there. Yes. So what this does is now is that we are trying to, right now, this from is simply representing the, it is representing the parts we got rejected from. Instead, it is this from is simply representing the protected parts that we couldn't access. And the location here is simply holding the parts of that protected page. Understand? So once we've done this now, over to our login page. So we're going to simply say, so far to our login page now, we're going to say const location again. Const location should be equal to use location. Yeah, from React Charter DOM. So we're going to then say over here, I'm going to say const from. We're going to get the URL we're coming from, the URL, understand? So we're going to then say location. They're going to put in the question mark because the reason why we're adding this question mark is because whenever we get logged in, that does not mean that we are coming from a protected route. For example, you can come to the login page. Okay, we can't. Okay, now let me just comment that line. For example, you can decide to come to the login page from the home page. You can just say, okay, this is the home page now. You click on login. So right now you did not face any roadblock of right now you did not face any protected page at all. You can come from the login. You can come to the login page from the register page. Understand? Whereby there was no redirect or there was no sending back because of the page is protected. You get. So that's why we have to put this question mark. That's optional chaining because this will not always exist. If it exists, fine, but if it does not exist, also fine. So I'm going to say location.state, then I'm going to then say dot from, and then we're going to say dot path name. Or so if this is undefined, that's because what I'm saying that this will only exist if you are being redirected from a protected page. That's when this will only exist. And if we did not use this optional chaining, if we did not use this question mark, it's going to throw an error. That's why we have to use a question mark. So this will only exist if you are coming from a protected page to the login page. You understand? So if this is false, if this is undefined, then we are going to simply have our own page URL. This is the path to our own page, and then we're going to simply say, then we're going to then come over here and say const. Just say const navigate should be equal to use navigates. And then we're going to then navigate, it's going to say navigate to from, and then we're going to add replace to true. So this replace is to prevent us from having to go back. This replace is just to prevent us from having to return back from where we are coming from. So this is it now. So let's try and see if it works. I'll click on create post. Right now we cannot access it because we're not logged in. So we're going to log in now. So I'll say jnet. I'll put in our password. Click on sign in. So we are hoping to get redirected to the create post page, and perfect now. So we got redirected to the create post page, right? Because that was where we were trying to go to before we got redirected back to the login page. So I think this video is now very long, so we are going to stop here. So in the next video, we are going to simply right now Janet is logged in. How do we know? Go down to the create post page. You can say we have access to the create post page. That means Janet is currently logged in. So in the next video, I want to simply display Janet name on the nav bar. I want to display a name. I want to say hi Janet and also display the logout button. And while doing that, we are going to make sure the login and register button both disappears, right? So that's going to be handled in the next video. So we are going to simply arrange the nav bar in the next video. So as for this video, we've covered the JWT authentication with Django and React. So I really hope you gained some value. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next episode. So see you there.